Hello and welcome to the Mandalorian Fan Podcast brought to you by TPEnetwork.com. I'm your host, Hank, and I am joined by Alex Cruz. How are you, Alex?
Hey, everybody, doing great. Happy New
Oh,
Year.
awesome. All right, we are going to be discussing the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 2, The Tribes of Tatooine. Fennec returns with the Foot Clan assassin, and he speaks in Huttonese, Order of the Night Wind. I've never heard of them before. Is this
No,
a real thing?
I think that's a new group, or somebody just made it up on the fly.
Yeah, just broke canon and just made stuff up. They'll,
Exactly.
they'll do
Kind of
that from
like
time to time.
it's kind of like what they do, make up Pokemon names.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So Fennec dumps him in with the fake Rancor, the the empty Rancor pit, and I thought that was really funny. What did you think?
So I thought that was pretty clever because, as we know the fate of the Rancor from Return of the Jedi, and so when that was going up, people were thinking, did they get a new one? Alas, no, they just did it so that particular Foot Clan ninja could crap his pants and spill
Yes,
beans, in which that's
and
what he did.
he sure did. He obliged right there. So he says the mayor sent him, and later on we'll get into the mayor deflecting a little bit. But in town, Boba and company parade the assassin. And do you have an appointment? What's your name again? I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and disrespectful. So you could tell Boba was probably getting a little bit hot underneath the Mandalorian helmet.
The mayor's lackey continues to try to divert them, but no, they'll just let themselves in. So Mokshai's needs an interpreter. What a crazy sounding voice, other than the interpreter, I should say.
Yeah.
So the mayor has the assassin killed, and then we have that brief standoff. And thank you for turning him in. Now, their assassins aren't supposed to be operating in this area. It's like, this is
Yeah. Wink, wink.
ridiculous. They were like, so he can't talk anymore. Bam. And what did you think about the guards that the mayor has? Like, their outfits look pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. I guess I didn't think too much of it, so it must have blended in quite well.
It almost reminded me of the guards that were with Padme. That weird pleather. It's not
Right.
Star Wars
Look,
pleather.
looks like they're ready for an S&M session.
Oh my goodness. Now Boba has to remind the mayor that he is the daimyo of Tatooine. And the mayor says, ask yourself, who really sent the Night Wind assassin? And he says, go to Garsa's sanctuary because running a family is harder than bounty hunting. Ooh, I'm telling you, that mayor is such a jerk. But do you think he's going to end up ultimately being the big bad of this season?
I don't know. I think his head is going to be served on a platter. I really do. I think
Could.
there's much more than just the mayor going on, as we're soon going to see.
Yes. Inside, Madame Garso is sweating like a Gupta on Mustafar as she informs Boba that the twins have laid claim to their cousin's bequest. And then when the music stops and the drums start beating, I just was like, this is too much. It was pretty funny. to be.
And then you have all the pop and circumstance, and then you have that litter that carries both of those huts at the same time. That's pretty amazing in and of itself.
I love how I don't know if they did this through animation, but how it was like bowing, stressed,
Yeah.
big, big people on board. And are we to believe that those, whatever they are, different aliens, are all able to hold that much weight?
I would like to believe there's some type of anti-gravity thing helping them out, but I don't know.
Okay. Now they had that amazing looking Wookiee. I guess he's a former gladiator.
So, the former Wookiee, Easter egg number 1. All right, so this is a hardcover edition of the original Darth Vader series that was put up by Marvel about, I want to say about 5 years ago. And so the very first issue, we are introduced to this Wookiee. I kind of call him the anti-Chewbacca, but let's see, I don't know if you, there we go. There's let me do this. Good shot right there.
Nice.
So his name is Black Chrysanthemum. And right next to him, we see a familiar Mandalorian-clad bounty hunter.
Interesting.
And so if you look at Boba Fett, and I think Boba Fett had his helmet off at this point, you can see that there was some kind of recognition between the two. And so now that Black Chrysanthemum is in official canon. Now, Disney went ahead to say years earlier that everything that was in the new Marvel comics is canon. So Black Chrysanthemum's canon, but I don't consider him officially canon until we see him on screen. Well, now we see him on screen, and this got a lot of people excited.
Including yours truly. I was very surprised, and it's kind of making me hopeful that we're gonna see other bounty hunters in the future.
Right. So Black Chrysanthemum, he during that first story arc, he played a prominent role in that first story arc of Darth Vader. He teamed up with Darth Alpha, which is kind of the Star Wars version of Indiana Jones, and with a couple droids that look very similar to R2D2 and C3PO, but of course they had some kind of sinister edge because they were all hired by Darth Vader. So yeah, pretty cool. And again, just enough to say, and that's kind of all we see of them for the rest of the episode, because then we go into kind of flashback mode. And I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was very well done.
Sleep lightly, bounty hunter. And Fennec makes that line where she says they're going to need permission to kill the twins. Did you understand what that's about?
There's some type of etiquette, I think, that goes along with that. So, okay. And hopefully that'll be revealed before too much longer.
Back in the Bacta tank, we get more flashbacks. And Boba is training with a Tusken Raider. Then that creature comes out of the sand and is shot. Then the alarms sound, and it's a train. It's a train. Many people get killed. Many Tuskens get killed. And they're putting the body in the hands of their people so they can burn them. And he promises that he's going to stop the train. So this episode did a great job of humanizing the Tuskens, one, and then two, showing that bond between him and them being built, where they're starting to have a lot of confidence, a lot of trust in him, and he likewise wants to help them.
And this also, too, reminded me of, the Old West back in, the 1860s, 1870s. in which trains would in fact go across the Great Plains area to go from to uh, St. Louis to California for the Great Gold Rush, and quite often uh, people would roll down the windows and start shooting at buffalo, to which they pretty much decimate the buffalo population, in which the Native American populations relied on them for everything, not just food, not just clothing, but shelter, everything.
In a bar, a couple is terrorized until Boba shows up. He wastes them and steals all their speeders. And I was
Okay,
like, this
okay.
is crazy.
Easter egg number 2. This was no mere bar. This was, in fact, Tashi Station. So the only thing I was disappointed about this was there were no power converters. Next thing, the 2 moisture farmers that we meet were really not the actors, but the characters themselves originally appeared in deleted scenes from what you noobs would call Star Wars: A New Hope, but I call just Star Wars. They're Cammy and Fixer. So we got Cammy and Fixer, 2 friends of Luke Skywalker, and so that was really cool. Now I didn't realize it was them until I was reading things on the internet, so I'm definitely going to have to get another watch. And if you go ahead, and if I have, of course, I have access to those deleted scenes, and I look at those deleted scenes with them on there, and the actors look very similar, so they did a good job.
And then he returns as he said he would with a gift for them, but they start destroying them. And they reminded me of the Jawas when they just start smashing on those friggin' speeders, man. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's going to teach them how to ride. And he's like a bantha. Lots of missed jumps on this, man. That was crazy. Did you like the montage training?
Yeah, this is a kind of a. It reminded me of the '80s when they're okay. We're training for this mission, and so all the goofaws and all that stuff was in. We we saw all of it here, so very well done.
All right, now he's getting more training, and then the train shows up. So similar to before, except the Boba plan is in action now, and then they lose some bikes in order to board the train. When the jumper does like that kamikaze into the freaking train and jumps on, I was like, that's a pretty cool stunt. That was a nice set piece, having that train going through this desert area like that, and all these jumps and stuff like that. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna have to.
And there's a lot of cool things here in this scene. So yeah, we see the Tuskens, the Sand People, trying to get on the train, and some didn't make it, but a lot did.
Yeah, most certainly. Now they're going to have to avoid the heat from those, like the boosters on there, and inside the engine room, Boba's able to stop the train. It's like every train stopping sequence ever, when you're just like, I'll just hit here and hope for the best. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, so this train was originally run by a droid, and then in true Star Wars fashion, the droid freaks out like a human would and bails.
Yeah, that was cool.
And Boba stop the train.
Throw Boba from the train. They ransack it for weapons and supplies and stuff. They were kind of wasteful, though, I felt like, on that, on this entire pillaging scene.
Especially with the water. You think they would really want to conserve all that water, but they're just, they just opened it up and it's just, leaking into the ground.
Yeah.
Spewing all over the place.
Oh, Boba talks to...
it's not a big commodity like we thought it was. I don't know.
Maybe not. Boba talks to the Pike leader. Are you carrying spice? I guess they don't want the spice to flow. Um, he, he's got a little problem with this whole situation. And then he brought up your point from last week. He said the Tuscans, are tribes, obviously, and they lay claim to the area, to the dune sea. I thought that was interesting. And then they can no longer pass through it. And I was like, yes, this is exactly how Alex laid it out, that this was more of of a tribal type situation. That's really good to see.
Yep.
And then the leader describes that they stayed hidden while other tribes survived by killing. So that put away that, plot hole that I thought I had last week when we kind of discussed Anakin's view on Tusken Raiders versus what we're seeing now. So it explains it.
Yep. I thought they did good. They did a good job explaining it. Yep.
So that's cool. Now he presents Boba with a gift that promptly crawls up his nose. This was weird. Dude.
That I totally agree. That was really weird. And then he started going through a vision quest. So it's like instead of taking the peyote for the vision quest, they gave him a lizard up his nose.
I was like, this is really disturbing. But go ahead. Yeah, let's have at it. That was great. So he goes to a tree, and I was like, I totally expected to see some like Black Panther people in this particular tree, because I was like, this seems pretty familiar. Doesn't it almost seem beat for beat how they did that on Black Panther?
Yeah. Well, it is Disney.
Yeah, true. Widget lets us know who was the actor that said Disney could make it to where Star Wars and the MCU are in the same universe. I can't remember.
They very well can do it.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'd ever want to see that though. When he has those flashbacks and all that stuff, we kind of get some rapid stuff from Camino and stuff like that. And he breaks that branch off. Did you know immediately what was transpiring?
Not at first.
I did not.
Again, to me, this was just a vision quest he was going on. Okay, and then he got that branch, and I'm thinking, you know what? I wonder if they're gonna make a gaffy stick out of it.
Which is freaking cool that's how you go about doing it. I was like, that is a cool little custom to do it that way.
Right.
So when he comes back and he brings back his stick, he gets new clothes. That was a good sequence too, I thought. And then they teach him how to craft his own gaffy stick, and that was really well done too. I absolutely like that.
And again, Boba kind of has gone native, and so there's just so many parallels with many various old West films involving Native Americans and white settlers. So, and this, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I really did.
All right, but what about the final scene where they're kind of doing the dancing around the fire?
And again, Native Americans dancing around the fire. That's. Yeah. It was cool. It was cool, but so we saw more into this Tusken culture. I don't know if it's fair we call them Tusken Raiders, because there is a area on Tatooine called Tusken, and Sand people invaded it, and that's why they were called Tusken Raiders. So Sand people, I guess we call. I don't know.
We'll have
I'm
to
old
find
school,
out.
so I'm going Tusken Raiders simply because that's what it said on the trading card
Oh, I love it.
from Topps Comics, 1977.
Well, I think we should dole out ratings because there's lots of
Okay.
feedback to get to.
Okay.
I think I went first last week.
Okay.
What are you giving this one?
All right. Because of these two awesome Easter eggs, that's what I was really expecting from the first episode. I'm going to give this definitely a 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
The action was wonderful. I loved how they paralleled Tuscan life with various Native American cultures. So, and we had a 48-minute episode. So, yay. They listened to us.
Win. I love it. I liked it better, much better than last week's, but I wasn't so over the moon over it just yet. I think they're getting there, and I think this was a proficient 8 out of 10, as you would say. Let's get into our feedback. We heard from several people. This was really nice to get this kind of feedback. All right, we'll start with Elizabeth. Hi, Hank and Alex. Boba is spending a lot of time in the Bacta tank. Did something happen to him between now and when he was in the Mandalorian? Let's stop right there. What do you think? Why is he in this tank so frequently?
I'm wondering if it was because of his time spent in the Sarlacc, but he was in his armor most of the time. So I'm thinking something may have happened even before then.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Because on The Mandalorian, did we really see him kind of in pain or anything like that? Do you recall?
Not really. He was just in those, those Tuscan robes, and he had the gaffy stick and kicking butt.
Yeah, true. Okay.
And then
yeah,
then he was kind of like scarred too. So
He
a lot of
was,
people
yeah.
were wondering if that was, from the Sarlacc pit, but he had his armor on the entire time. So I don't know.
Yes. Okay. Could access to the Bacta tank be the reason he took Jabba's palace? Interesting thought. I think it's an add-on. I don't think that was the motivator. I think gaining wrestling control of this empire is more what he's after. And maybe his motives are a little more noble than I had initially thought they would be. What about you, Alex? What do you say to that?
I don't know if the Bacta was needed, but then again, I don't think they really exposed his need for it yet.
Okay. So we'll have to circle back around to that one, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
The bar fight and the train battle are in keeping with the old Western movie theme, but they don't make sense. We'll stop there. Alex, do you think the train is more of a script writing mechanism in order to show his development and endear him to their people?
Yeah, definitely, because as we know, this train contained, like, as we saw, spice and other probably smuggled contraband to get to the other crime syndicates on Tatooine. And so and plus they were needlessly killing sand people along the way.
Oh.
And so, again, Boba wanted to do the honorable thing, the respectful thing, and avenge these deaths and to stop it.
Elizabeth goes on to say, why didn't the couple walk out of the bar before something happened? I think so we could get that cool fight scene.
Yeah, I don't know if Fixer and Cammy wanted to do that, but yeah, again, that was the coolest thing ever when I learned who they were. So, yeah, Yeah, they should have got their power converters at the Tashi station instead of staying there to drink.
Didn't the train gang think the Tuscans would fight back? I don't think the train gang had any idea that the Tuscans could ever do anything that would put them in a position to board the actual trains.
Yeah,
What about you?
yeah. I think they didn't have. Now Boba has the knowledge and the expertise to plan something off like that. Where I don't think the Tuscans really quite had all of those smarts or the experience to do that. So that's why after this was done, Boba was more accepted as being part of the tribe.
Elizabeth says, I hope the plot thickens soon. As always, I'm interested in hearing what you think about it all. Thanks, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, no, thank you. That's some good stuff. Good questions. Next one up is Russ. Hi, Hank and Alex. I thought this week's episode was a vast improvement over the season premiere. The action was better, the reveals were better, and I found both storylines compelling. One question. I still don't understand why Boba wants to be a crime lord post his bounty hunter career. Was this explained and I missed it? If not, why do you think he's doing it? It seems like a slightly odd career choice to me. Thanks, as always, Russ. Alex, what do you think?
Well, thank you, Russ, for the nice feedback. I think what you nailed it on the head. What the $1 million question is: why did Boba go from being the best at what he does, which is being the bounty hunter, to all of a sudden he wants to be a crime lord? Again, I'm hoping that through these flashbacks of with the Sand People, it's kind of revealed why he decided to do that, because it's kind of an odd decision to make from when he's known as being a bounty hunter for so long.
And hopefully they will, like you said, show something in these upcoming episodes that is going to be the reason why he says, this is why I'm going to do this. And maybe it's something deeper. Maybe he thinks he can affect some sort of change throughout that, not just that region, but maybe even further. And maybe it's a little more noble than what we were thinking to begin with. So hopefully it is. We'll see. Next up, thanks so much, Russ, for sending that in. Next up, we got Jason. Boba, episode 2 was much better. After hearing your first podcast, I think that Alex's knowledge of the Star Wars universe made it much more interesting. That being said, I don't think that's a great way to start a series. I really liked Boba's character development in this episode. He is hardworking, genuine, loyal, and has restraint. He seems different than the Boba from the movies. Thumbs up to Alex for identifying the Tuscans as being the natives and defending their land. I hope we learn more about why Fennec is so loyal to Boba, and I hope they give her the character development that Ming-Na deserves. And that is from Jason. Jason, I think she's so loyal is because he kept her alive after she was shot on the Mandalorian and was going to be left to die. He did that, whatever he did to keep her going. So I think that's where that comes from.
Yep, totally agree. So I think what he's talking about, like when you have a first episode, you kind of want to do this with the casual fan in mind. Now, when you get us diehards, that might bore people to death, and I think that's why people weren't too excited about the first episode. Now, me being in the Star Wars universe, I've been in the Star Wars universe for almost 50 years, so that's a place I'm comfortable with, a place I've been to, so I'm quite happy being there. And yeah, I know I probably know more than the average person.
You most certainly know more than the average person. So I do like the development, because I thought for sure I was going to be disappointed when I got into this series, as far as when they started that first episode, and I was like, oh man, I wanted to see more, for lack of a better expression, bloodthirsty Boba.
Yeah.
Disintegrations, you know what I mean? I want to
Right.
see
Right.
the man that was admonished by Darth Vader. Darth Vader would kill somebody in a heartbeat, and he's like, "Hey, no disintegrations."
As you wish.
So I kind of wanted to see that character, but as this story unfolds, I gotta be honest, sort of winning me over on this new version of Boba in this extended timeline, I guess.
I think the only thing I don't like about it is when Boba takes his helmet off. Now, we never saw Boba without his helmet. And my wife piped in to say the only reason why they do that so they can nominate the actor for
Awards.
the various awards, whether they be the Emmys or the Golden Globes or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, and remember, it's me.
Yeah.
Just about every scene he does that. I love it. Jason, thank you, and I'm glad you're hanging in there. I was a little nervous last week that maybe Jason might not hang in there after that first episode. Now, this next one, Alex, comes to us, and this is the last one we have, comes to us from a mutual friend of ours, and he calls himself the Bothan Spy out of East Lansing.
Yes. The Boston Spy.
When I looked
AKA.
that character up, it looked much shorter than our mutual friend.
Yeah, he's a taller gentleman. Of course, I'm short to begin with.
Me too. So he had some good feedback when he explained to me about Django's head being separated from his body by Mace Windu. Now, he says he rewatched it after he listened to our episode, and he saw a shadow of the head coming on, it was off screen. The head's obviously off screen. And he says, like, you see the helmet and you see the shadow of what could be the head casting the shadow on screen, but the head's off screen. And I was like, oh, now that's a great catch.
All right, gonna have to rewatch that now.
Yep, me too. I meant to do it before this episode, but I just haven't had the time. But I thought that was very fascinating. And then the next idea he had, he submitted this before this episode, before this most recent episode. So keep that in mind. But he said, I think when the young Tusken Raider brought back the head of the sand creature that Boba killed in episode 1, was it in fact that the youngling was lying to the tribe and saying that he actually killed it, like telling big tall tales, but the leader of the tribe knows darn well he didn't kill this thing, and that's why he gives Boba the water.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing too during that scene. Is like, oh, he's taking all the credit when Boba actually did it.
Because he's tiny, so I was like, come on. Yeah. Now. That's awesome. I didn't look at it like that. I thought for sure he was telling Boba's story, but then once that was presented to me, I was like, oh, okay. Very cool. Very good stuff. I guess they're making good spies there in East Lansing.
Yeah, Bothan spies. All right.
Interesting. Nice. All right.
Text him now. Our Bothan spy from East Lansing.
Alex, anything else before we wrap her on up?
One last thing, and it really has nothing to do with Star Wars, but MCU. I guess there has been a type of signatures needed, according to our very own Ming-Na Wen, to get the Disney Plus, get them to air new episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Ming-Na Wen is in full support of this, and that would be really cool. So I'm just putting it out there. So go ahead and sign this digital signature, sign this digital petition, and again, just do a Google search. You should be able to find it.
I'll sign anything Ming Na Wen asks me to. So we'll leave that
kick
there.
your butt if you don't.
That too. All right. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of the Mandalorian Fan Podcast. Alex, thank you as always for bringing your knowledge and giving us your time.
Hey, this is fun. I love doing this.
Me too. All right. For Alex, I'm Hank. Until the next time, we're signing off.
See ya.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else like it.